The David Chappelle SNL monologue has everybody up in arms.
But when he woke up, he went on Drink Champs again. This time, he said, I can say anti-Semitic things. Adidas can't drop me. Now what? Adidas dropped that nigga immediately. I had so many questions.
And so there's two specific clips, specific things that David Chappelle says that I believe have caused an uproar within the media and everywhere you talk to anyone about anything. There's two specific quotes that I think got him in the hottest of water as it relates to his monologue, specifically speaking about the Jewish religion and more specifically anti-Semitism.
I grew up around Jewish people. I've probably been doing this 35 years now. I learned that there are two words that you should never say together. And those words are the and Jews.
So the question is why? Like, why even have this sort of conversation? Like, shouldn't we be free to talk about anything? And shouldn't talking about these particular ugly stereotypes, obviously very ugly history that's related to the Jewish religion, shouldn't we be talking about it? Shouldn't we actually normalize talking about it so that we can educate people? I think that's kind of the thought that David Chappelle has, and I think comedians in general have, is that, hey, listen, these ugly things happen. Maybe we should laugh about them. I don't believe, and I specifically don't believe David Chappelle is calling out the Jewish religion and talking about anti-Semitism in his stand-up to ridicule Jewish people or make fun of them or promote hate against them. No, I mean, it is something that is out there to be spoken about, right? And I mean, we do talk about a lot of other things that are sensitive. So I think that we can agree that if something is ugly, we should still talk about it, right? And I mean, even if those ugly things hurt people's feelings, I think the argument should be made that we should still talk about it. But this is a point that David Chappelle made in his monologue.
There's just a rule, the rules of perception. If they're black, then it's a gang. If they're Italian, it's a mob. But if they're Jewish, it's a coincidence, and you should never speak about it.
Right? So for me, the point that I get from that is, hey, listen, we talk about gang culture, specifically within African Americans. And if you're talking about Italians, then you're usually talking about the mafia. I mean, you can flip on any History Channel at any point in time. There's a show about the Italian mafia murdering people, raping people, robbing people. I mean, some ugly stuff. So why is it that when it comes to anti-Semitism and the Jewish religion, that unless it's only spoken about as in the brightest of lights, are people okay with it?
Kyrie Irving posted a link to a movie that he had seen on Amazon. No caption on the post or nothing like that. Kanye got in so much trouble, Kyrie got in trouble.
As soon as you talk or anybody makes a joke or makes a comment or anything, everyone's up in arms. Now, I'm not saying that I'm for any speech related to anti-Semitism. That's not what I'm saying at all. So I want to make that perfectly clear. The only thing that I'm saying that I think David Chappelle is saying is that we should be able to talk about it. I mean, think about it, right? I mean, there's a song out that's called Wet Ass. I can't even say the word, but that's a video. It's a song that was celebrated. And I'm not here to criticize it, but I'm like, that's out there. I mean, we talk about rape.
A woman was raped on a suburban Philadelphia train.
We talk about abortion.
Which outlaw or severely restrict abortion automatically following the court's ruling.
A murder mystery in Idaho. 4 University of Idaho students were found dead in their off-campus apartment.
You know, we talked about Black Lives Matters and we're continuing to talk about that stuff.
Black Lives Matter first trended during the Ferguson, Missouri protests in 2014.
So why can't you talk about the Jewish religion?
What you should never say together are the and Jews.
I mean, you hear comedians make jokes all the time about small people, about women, about lawyers, about doctors, about anything. So who's the morality police? Who decides, hey, it's okay to make fun of black people. It's okay to make fun of small people. It's okay to make fun of women. It's okay to make fun of animals. But you know what? You can't make fun of this. Like, that's just crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Is that where we are as a society? And like Jon Stewart came in, he's a friend of Chappelle, so obviously he's going to be pro Chappelle, but he said this, and I think it was telling.
Penalizing somebody for having a thought I don't think is the way to change their minds or gain understanding. This is a grown-ass man.
I think he perfectly said it. Like, just for having a thought, you're going to punish people. I know he vocalized that thought, but every verbalization, its predecessor is a thought, right? And if someone has a bunch of ugly thoughts in their head, don't we want to educate them? Don't we want to be able to have a conversation with them to show, hey, listen, like, you're wrong. Your point of view is limited. We want to give you a brighter perspective. But this is the problem, and brings me to these two clips of Chappelle from the SNL stand-up that I think have drawn the most kind of negative attention, so to speak. And here's the first one.
I had so many questions. Why do some of your people dress like Run DMC?
Why do some of you people dress like Run DMC?
They did what? What they do?
That's a stereotype. It's about how they dress. I hear lots of comments about how low people wear their pants. And typically that's African-American people. And me even just saying that, typically African-American people, you could say that, well, that's a stereotype, 100%, right? But stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason, right? Because they're usually true. That's how they become a stereotype. You might find a stereotype ugly, but just because you find a stereotype ugly doesn't mean that someone should not be able to say that. Should he not be able to say that some Jewish people dress like Run DMC? Is that anti-Semitism? It's definitely not pro-Semitism. But he should be able to say that. Likewise, you should be able to turn off SNL and ignore it. The second clip, though, I think is a little bit more problematic.
Yo, let's go out after school tomorrow. They'll be like, we can't go out. It's Sha-na-na tomorrow. I'll be like, where? What is Sha-na-na?
Sha-na-na-na-na-na-na. Well, obviously that's related to Rosh Hashanah. I hope I'm saying that right. And so again, you could say, as people are, that that's promoting anti-Semitism, but I don't think it is. I think comedians should be able to joke about anything. I believe anybody should be able to joke about anything. Just like you don't have to listen to anybody if you don't want to. If you don't like what they say, don't listen. There's gonna be ugly people out there. There is. You're not gonna be able to stop them. There's people out there, Jeffrey Dahmer just had a documentary about him. And yeah, that pissed some people off. But we shouldn't be canceling people, and that's the thing. I don't think David Chappelle's cancelable. He has enough people supporting him that he's the one person who can't be canceled. I mean, he even started his stand-up with a disclaimer of essentially saying like, hey, listen, anything I say, I love the Jewish people. I'm all for the Jewish people. I don't hate the Jewish people. Nothing I say is promoting anti-Semitism, just like I did.
Before I start tonight, I just wanted to read a brief statement that I prepared. I denounce anti-Semitism in all its forms, and I stand with my friends in the Jewish community. And that, Kanye, is how you buy yourself some time.
So does that give them enough grace? So is that what we need people to do? Like a disclaimer at the beginning of their things so people don't think that they're, promoting anti-Semitism, racism, or the like? I mean, come on, guys. Like freedom of speech, freedom of thought, freedom of press, all of these things have been around forever. And as soon as you start trying to police these things, especially police them in like some kangaroo court, that the morality police is CNN or whoever can get the most comments on a social post, like give me a break. I don't want to live in a country like that. I don't want to live in a country where I got to second guess everything that I do or say because it might offend somebody. Listen, I'm sure I did something in this video that offended somebody, and it doesn't mean that I should be canceled. So at the end of the day, I have no issues with David Chappelle. I have no issues with any comedian making a joke about anything, no matter how ugly it is. Even if they were to make a joke about my children. I love my children more than anything on earth. But like, what I'm going to do is just not take my children to see that comedian. It's my decision. It's just like it's your decision, and we need more accountability instead of finger pointing. That's my 2 cents. Leave a comment, share, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate your support.